Exciting.
It is. Hi, Elliot. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited with all the comments we're getting.
Yeah, my friend Meg's in here. Louise is in here. She's a friend of mine as well. Dan's in here.
Ginger,
Hello, guys.
Ginger Keto, and Max, and wow, so many people. Thanks, guys. Love all the comments. Same way you're commenting now, you can actually ask us questions later on, or if we're discussing something, you can just add to it and say your take on it, or add a question to it. Awesome. So, Elliot, we had a few questions come in from Yummzy followers, from Elliot followers, from people who shared it, like Adrian and so on. So we're gonna be grilled today.
Okay.
Awesome. I'll bring up the banners. Adrian is also keeping an eye on all the live questions. So if there are any questions coming through, he will give us a shout.
Okay, brilliant.
Awesome. So I think this is the first time you and I talk, right?
It is, yeah, face to face. Yeah, it is.
My
It's also
pleasure.
It's my first ever like live stream as well with anything to do with keto.
Really? Oh my God, I'm honored. Well, thank you for accepting this. Thank you for being with us on it. Thanks for the amazing videos you make. You know what? A lot of products I'm literally about to buy or not buy, and you help with that deciding factor. So thanks for that.
No worries.
Awesome. So, first question. The way we're going to do this, we'll put up the banner and you answer it, and then I'll answer it, or whichever way. If you're feeling more passionate about it, you go for it first. If you can't contain my passion and jumping in, then feel free to let me go first.
Okay,
So,
brilliant.
keto diet versus keto lifestyle. Pick one and why.
For me, it is a lifestyle. Just because I started it initially as a diet to lose weight, but so many benefits came with it. Like so many benefits. I was like, no, I can't ever stop this because if I stop it, I lose those benefits.
Okay. I have to agree. For me as well, it was a lifestyle. It never started as a diet because I know myself. I don't keep with diets. But for me, it started as a lifestyle because I'm type 1 diabetic since I was a toddler. So from the age of 4 or 5, I always knew if I have a bite of cake, I'm going to feel horrible.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to feel less horrible, maybe I will have half a spoon of cake, or maybe I'll skip the cake altogether. Or that's how I grew up, really. I was a rebellious teenager. So I did have all the carbs I wanted, but God, I did pay for it. In weight, in complications, in everything you can think of.
I think we both paid for it eating carbs in our teen years, just in different ways.
Oh, brilliant. So we'll move to the next question. Guys, in the comments, keep the questions coming if you have any that we haven't said already. What is the difference between a low carb diet and a keto diet?
Keto is a metabolic state. So to be in keto, the one rule is you have a certain level of ketones in your system. Whereas low carb, I think by the UK's government guidelines, 100 grams of carbs or under is low carb. You will still burn sugar by having that many carbs. So usually to go into keto, people will have high fat, moderate protein, low carbs. But doing the carnivore diet can put you in keto. Doing egg fasts can put you in keto. Fasting can put you in keto. It's the state, not what you eat. Obviously, what you eat does matter, but to be in keto, you have to have ketones in your body enough of.
Amazing. Well, you gave the scientific side.
Yeah, I can't help it.
I'm going to give my side. So I'll be honest, I didn't actually know the word keto until just before we started Yummzy. So I remember trying to buy something and asking, how many grams of carb does this have? And it's funny because as a kid growing up, when you're looking at the carbs on a piece of chocolate or something, all the other kids think, what is wrong with this kid? Like, I even had people say to me, what is wrong with you? You're a child. Just eat the bloody bar and enjoy it. Sorry for
Yeah.
swearing. So for me, it was a matter of reading carbs the whole time. And at one point, it got really bad because I was doing low carb, or my version of survival. And I was also doing the alkaline diet. And it got to a But I remember I walked into a shop, I took a bottle of water, and I was trying to read the pH on the water. And my brother was standing next to me saying, the shop owner is literally staring at you like a crazy person. Don't do that. So I was known as a kid who was constantly checking all the labels. And you don't get very popular in school doing that, but it does help health-wise. So yeah, so for me, I didn't know the word keto, I'll be honest, until 2 years before starting Yummzy. Now, it was funny because everybody came into Yummzy asking, is this keto? Is this keto? Including diabetics. And then they would see I'm wearing my Freestyle Libra and they'd be like, oh, you're diabetic too. And I'm like, yeah, so everything here is suitable for diabetics. Oh, but how many grams of carb would you say it is? And I'd say everything is under 5 grams of carb. Oh, so it's strict keto. And I'm like, call it whatever you want. It's under 5 grams of carb. So for me, the word keto, yeah, it didn't have much meaning until very recently, but I love the explanation you gave. It's so scientific. We have a few more highs before I move to the next question. Valia, hi. Another Megan, hi. Hi, guys. Good to have you. Any questions, please let us know. And someone is asking, Megan is asking, if you do a diet long enough, it does become a lifestyle. Actually, no, she's not asking, she's commenting. And that's so true.
Yeah.
For me, it is like a lifestyle now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't think of any other way of doing it. I mean, I did rebel as a teenager and you did as well, Elliot. But yeah, we learned it's not a good idea.
It's not worth it.
No. So a question that we hear a lot is the keto diet safe?
Yes, first and foremost, yes. Obviously, I think it's important to say I speak a lot of science, but I don't have a science background. This is just from passion that this comes from. It is safe providing that you have the correct medical checks. Any kind of diet or lifestyle, you need to make sure it's medically right for you. So, you know, making sure that your blood checks are okay, that your liver's working okay, that you're getting enough electrolytes. Your minerals and vitamins are so important, and that is one of the reasons people stop keto, is because they're not getting enough of those electrolytes, so they feel like rubbish. So they go, well, this isn't good for you because I feel like rubbish. And I think, you know, it's not a one size fits all. So you're type 1 diabetic. I'm assuming you can't go like do long fasts, like because of insulin.
One time I forgot to eat when I was working at Yummzy, and actually literally one time I forgot to eat, and then I came home, I was really tired, and I'm talking like I had breakfast but I just skipped lunch and dinner, came home, slept. I woke up like 4 a.m. Luckily it wasn't COVID times, it was okay to go to hospitals then. I woke up screaming in pain, and I was telling Adrian, like, my abdomen is killing, like, I said to him, like, literally stab me, it's that bad. I was having a very bad case of acidosis, like when you burn all, when basically your body is not able to process anything anymore, and there's like even the insulin at that point is not helping.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was really bad. That was the one time I unintentionally did intermittent fasting for like 9 hours or 10 hours.
So keto is safe for you, but you've got to do it differently to me because of health conditions. Yeah. So for me, this time last year, I didn't eat for 7 days straight, and I had no problems. My ketones were coming in at like 8 and 9 millimoles per liter, and I felt amazing. But obviously, that's safe for me. It's not safe for you. So as long as health-wise you check in on everything, it is safe.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, is keto diet safe? I'm having this conversation with someone who is newly diagnosed with diabetes. So in the UK, unlike North European countries, in the UK, when someone is diagnosed with diabetes, they get an average of 100 to 120 grams of carb given to them in hospital per day. Exactly. So it's like saying the one thing your body cannot process anymore is carbohydrates, but we're going to give you a lot of that. Like saying to someone with a peanut allergy, you can't process peanuts, but here we're going to give you peanuts. And to solve the problem, we're going to give you an EpiPen.
An EpiPen, yeah.
And you can live your life eating peanuts and injecting EpiPen. And I know with diabetes, the effects are not as direct. I mean, the diabetic person would suffer heavy breathing, heavy muscles, heavy all of this on the spot. but long term, they'd have eye, kidney, all of these complications. So the person was telling me she spoke to the nurse, and the nurse told her, "Oh, keto diet is not safe for you." And I said to her, "Is that exactly?" And the funny thing is, they just gave her insulin, long acting and short acting, and they told her to go home and try to measure how it works. And they told her for a meal, take 2 units of insulin, which for a carby meal, 2 units of insulin, with like, depending on her having insulin resistance or not, which unfortunately she does, um, depending on something, if I'm eating an apple, I would take 2 units of insulin without insulin resistance, without anything. So of course, in her case, it wasn't really doing anything. And the poor thing, like her whole time, her sugar levels are constantly between 20 and 30 millimoles, which is extremely high. And but she said to me, but the nurse was saying it's not safe. And I just lost my temper. I said, is it the same nurse that sent you home without telling you about insulin ratioing, and the same one who sent you home without telling you what to do with the insulins, and which one is long acting, which one is short acting, which one is this? I said to her, please go back to that nurse and ask her to do her job properly again.
My mum was the same. So mum was the reason I actually started keto. Because really long story short, for over like 6 months, she was having this weird problem where she'd go all like freezing cold and shakes and couldn't hold anything because she was like shaking so much. And I kept like threatening to her. I was like, I'm going to call 111, which is our like help service for health, if you don't get better in the next half an hour. And she'd be fine within 15 minutes. And it would come and go like for months. And it was the height of July, it's like boiling hot. And she's watching TV in her PJs with a dressing gown on, with a hot water bottle, with a duvet, shivering. And I'm in like a vest sweating. And I went, I've had enough. I'm calling the paramedics. They come down, they take her bloods. Her blood sugar is 22 millimoles per litre. So they said, we're going to hospital now. And she was like, are you kidding? I feel fine. With blood, we didn't know what that meant.
You know what? A lot of people say they feel fine. They feel fine. I broke my leg once, and I was walking around for 2 days after that saying I feel fine. When I went to A&E, they thought I was crazy.
2 days. So she goes to hospital, and it turns out that she has raging septicemia, raging blood poisoning, that has basically destroyed her liver and her pancreas and has caused type 2 diabetes. So they luckily removed, the sepsis. I mean, that took days anyway. And she said she felt like a fraud sat in hospital when the doctors had said, had your son not called, your organs would have started shutting down within 48 hours.
No.
So they're saying, you're now a type 2 diabetic. This is what you need to do. You need to inject this. You need to do that. And my mum, coming from a big research background, went, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm reversing it. Looked into it, started keto, and within 2 weeks was off all medication.
So your mom was the reason you started keto?
Yeah. So
I actually met her in person.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like my mum introduced me to keto because I was doing it to support her. I then kind of was like, I love this. I need to make this my entire life, with the background I'm in, everything. And now it's like she comes to me for advice, when to begin with, it was me going to her for advice.
But that's amazing. And well done on you for taking the threat to an action and taking her to hospital when she needed to go.
So the other really interesting thing on that is that she obviously had a lot of nurses saying, you cannot be doing keto. When I see a doctor and they go, oh my God, your triglycerides, the fat in your blood is really low. How are you doing this? I go, I just don't really eat sugar. But
that's a huge thing, actually. You mentioned it. It's a huge misconception because people think because I'm eating high fat, it means that my cholesterol is going to be really bad. And they don't realize that rusting process happens from sugar and carbs, not from, well, obviously unhealthy fats. If you're eating fry-ups the whole time, it's not good, but yeah.
So she went to the doctor with basically information from the NHS to say, you've got me down saying I've got type 2 diabetes. It has been X amount of years since I've had any medication, and they put it into remission. So she is marked as in remission for type 2 diabetes, which means when it comes to like life insurance and stuff, despite being diagnosed with it and having it, she doesn't have to say she's got diabetes.
That's amazing. All thanks to changing her
Keto.
lifestyle. But to be honest, I know a lot of people who would benefit from that. But for some people, it's much easier to just take
Yeah.
medication than
Yeah.
and try to put the effort in. And it needs to come from within. The person needs to think, I'm going to do this. We had a friend who lost, I've been talking to her about Yummzy and keto for like 3-4 years, even before I started Yummzy. And she always used to say, yeah, I'm going to do this. How come you're always so in good shape? And I say to her, because I don't eat carbs. I mean, for me, it's not a choice. For me, it's a matter of I don't inject more insulin, which is a weight gaining hormone. But for her, it's a choice. And just this year, she was reading all the researches about how COVID hits people who are obese or and so on in a harder manner. And she started doing proper keto in March, and she lost 20 something kilos by June. In
By
3 months, by June.
That's
And the funny
incredible.
thing is, now she's like saying, "Oh, you should speak to Jolie. You should buy Yummzy stuff. You should this. You should." And I'm thinking, like, "Hello, you should have started talking about this 4 years ago before I started Yummzy." But yeah, it does. It does need to come from the person from within.
You
So
won't do it until you want to.
yeah, we have a comment from Louise. Do you still get carb cravings even after all of these years of keto?
No.
I will answer from my point, Louise.
Go
It depends, because when I'm doing clean keto and I'm not taking sweeteners, I mean, Elliot has fine-tuned the whole process, so he doesn't take nasty sweeteners and all that jazz. But sometimes if I'm in an environment and someone has gone through the effort of buying me a specific sugar-free chocolate, and they're like, I got you something that's keto just for you, nobody else is going to have it, and you're in a big group of people, you're not going to say, no, you're going to have at least a bite. And unfortunately, if it has something like sorbitol or God knows what all, which I'm allergic to, by the way, any sweetener, anything in all other than erythritol, I'm actually allergic to. So when they give you that, I would be like, oh, I'll just have a little bite and I have it. Exactly. Well, I can't do that. But after I have that bite, bearing in mind I can't do what Elliot just proposed, but I will think about it for the future. I do get a bit of cravings, and that's what distinguishes sweeteners that are safe or clean
Yeah.
from sweeteners that are just. And it's a big disgrace, because if you look at Amazon, and we're trying to get Ariamtella on Amazon, but don't tell anyone yet. But if you look at Amazon, and we were looking at the competition, every single chocolate spread has maltitol. And
Maltitol.
chocolates, they have maltitol and stevia. But on the packaging, and big brands, like some of them are really big brands, you find them in Holland and Barrett, and it says stevia nice and bold. But when you look at the ingredients, it's like a sprinkle of stevia with everything else being maltitol.
Yeah.
So that definitely makes a difference. Also, I didn't know about clean keto before studying nutrition. So as a student, I always say this story. As a student, I had an allowance of 200 pounds per month. I used to work and do this and do that, but I had 200 pounds to live on. And I used to save that 20 pounds from that 200 just to buy sugar-free chocolate from Boots. And I'm not going to say the brand of the chocolate, but I used to go to Boots, and that was my luxury as a student. I wasn't able to drink alcohol. I wasn't able to do all this. So 20 pounds for chocolate, it's not going to harm anyone. Yes, it's a huge percentage of 200, but not going to harm anyone.
Yeah.
And here's the problem. I kept doing this throughout my undergraduate and postgraduate degree and years of work until I studied nutrition. And guess what was the first ingredient in the chocolate?
Maltitol. Yeah.
And that explained why I was doing low carb or keto or whatever it was called for me at the time. And as Louise said, I used to get really, really harsh cravings afterwards. I would eat a bite of the chocolate, and it's dark chocolate, but I wanted more. I wanted more. So well done, Elliot, for fine-tuning that. Well done for cutting out all the junk and knowing it before having to go through it. We have another question from Allegorical Studios. A friend of mine asked for this for thyroid papillary carcinoma. It's a type of cancer. What type of keto diet is the best? I think it's a type of cancer. I think strict keto or regular keto. And if this diet can be combined with fasting, is it recommended?
I'll be honest, I don't have much experience when it comes to sort of thyroid. I think that kind of thing is something you need to talk to somebody that does have a lot more experience with keto and thyroid. But my all go-to with any kind of illness is the stricter, the better for your immune system, for your health. But that depends on, you know, if you're taking steroids or something for this illness, that can have an effect because you're hungrier. And then if you're really strict, it's hard to keep them up together.
Yeah, definitely. So, Allegorical Studio, to your friend, who I hope is watching this, I would say, from a nutritional point of view, I haven't studied cancers as much, but I do know the more you cut out sugars, the better. I do know a few customers we had in Yummzy as well who were going through chemotherapy or radiotherapy or meat cancer. And the main piece of advice I heard from them is cut out the sugars and cut out the dirty sweeteners. Also, I'd have to say a lot of them used to say they avoid dairy and meats because if they're not organic, that means they've been injected with a lot of hormones. And I know at this point there, like, I hope your friend will overcome this perfectly fine. But at this point, it's about putting things in the body that are clean. I mean, people say try to use things without parabens, try to use this, try to use that. But I think at this point, what she uses or he uses on their body is not going to help as much as the things that go in the body. So as someone who studied all different types of diets, I would say definitely focus on no sugar. I'm sorry to say this, but even avoid fruits and try to aim for vegetables, green vegetables. And I would say strongly combine keto with alkaline diet, which will automatically cut out things like meat, dairy, and all of this because they're considered acidic. Keto diet will probably help, but I think in his or her case, keto and alkaline diet would help even more. Sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit, but I've had a few friends go through this, so it brings back memories. But yeah, Elliot's dad here.
Oh
I'm a
no.
huge sweet addict. Oh dear, we have the rebellious, we have the prohibitionist. I'm a huge sweet addict, but there's a big difference between sweet taste and carbs. I'm finding plenty of sweetness to feed my addiction without needing to go to sugar and candy. That's
He's a very
interesting.
interesting case. He is a very interesting case in itself because I've never known somebody on keto to have such a sweet tooth still to this day. And he can have maltitol without it affecting him. He stays in keto while having maltitol.
Really?
Yeah.
If I have maltitol, it affects my sugar levels exactly like normal sugar.
Yeah. So he'll just sit
Wow.
and eat all the grenade bars, all of, you know, these protein bars, and it doesn't affect him.
I'm impressed. Well, good metabolism, I guess. I don't know. Um, I'm very curious. So, did you try the chocomel? Because I know you had a chocomel in the last shipment. It's the caramel layer with chocolate and vanilla, and then chocolate at the bottom.
No, I don't think. I think that's the one that's left. We have one thing
Okay,
left.
so that's extremely sweet for me. When I have that, I literally cringe. But our customers who have a sweet tooth, they love it. It's sweet in taste, but it's not sweet in carbs.
Yeah.
So I think if your dad is in the same house, you might want to hide that from him, just in case.
He does. It's like I'll add a quarter of a cup of sweetener to something, and he's like, "It could be a bit sweeter." I had half a cup, and he's like, "It could be a bit sweeter." I had a cup of sweetener, and he's like, "It could be a little bit sweet." I'm like, "If you add any more sweetener, it'll be so minty."
I know, right? That tastes bad. And he said having Elliot does help, so that's good. That's good. We have a question for Megan, and she's asking, "What is your guilty pleasure meal?"
I'm assuming she's asking about a keto guilty pleasure meal because I don't have like carby pleasure meals. I don't cheat at all. So I think the sort of naughtiest meal I'll have is I'll have a kebab without the pita bread. So it's, you know, it's got like some nasty oils in it, and there is a little bit of pita actually in the kebab meat, but that's about as far as I'll go.
Yeah, that's interesting. Megan, that's like asking me what's my favorite color. I have such a diverse background. You're never going to get one answer out of me. What's my favorite guilty pleasure meal? I'm going to say if I wasn't keto, because if I'm keto, I'll just eat whatever I feel that day. So I don't have a guilty pleasure or favorite. But if I wasn't keto or I had a day of, I don't know, cheating where my diabetes doesn't catch me out, because I'm not worried about the metabolism, I'm worried about the diabetes. I'm much simpler. I would love to have a whole banana, just eat the whole banana and not have to stop after one bite.
Yeah, they're like luxury desserts now.
I know. And imagine if it's a banana dipped in a bit of honey. But to be honest, I don't crave it. It's just if someone tells me, okay, today you can eat whatever you want and not inject any insulin for it, I'll be like, bananas. And Dan asked a question, and then we'll go back to the main questions after the comments here. What are your favorite go-to keto snacks when you just need a quick bite to eat?
Literally just grabbing cheese and ham as they are and eating them. People go, you can't just have it on your own. You have to have it inside. No, I just have it on its own. I like nuts, but they're a little bit naughty because you have a couple and a couple turns into a whole cup of them and you've gone over 30 grams of carbs and they're a bit dangerous. And pork scratchings as well. Pork scratchings are a huge go-to for me because, you know, simple packets, like a packet of crisps. Lovely.
Brilliant. Dan, I need you to grab a pen and paper. We're going to write a few things here. Guys, don't ask me what's my favorite anything. I have a really diverse background. So, like, I can't choose a favorite. It's impossible. So, grab a pen and paper. What's my favorite go-to keto snack when you just need a quick bite? So if I'm not hungry and I just want to bite like something to keep me going psychologically rather than physically, we have something called Yummzy, and I'm an addict for that. I can go through a jar in 2 days. My neighbor goes through a jar in 1 day. And regardless of me telling her, don't do that, Elliot. You're an addict too, by the looks of it.
I am. I have tried a lot of different like hazelnut spreads, keto ones, and I've tried to make my own, and yours blows me out of the water
and
with
you
how
changed the recipe since you tried it last time. So
yeah,
this time
I could taste the slight difference. Yeah. But I've got literally just here, I've got a fridge with drinks in it with the Yummzy and a spoon literally right next to the Yummzy.
And if my husband just takes one spoon out, usually I come and I'm like, oh, honey, you had a bite of Yummzy. So yes, Dan, if I'm not hungry, I'll have a bite of Yummzy. Now, if I am hungry, and this is why you need the paper, I'm giving you all the alternatives. So Yummzy's Yummzy. And if I am hungry, a triple choco heart would slice it's one of our cupcakes, and it's like a cupcake filled with chocolate inside, melted chocolate that we make, and then it has chocolate frosting on top, which is very similar to the chocolate ice cream we used to make in the shop. So that would do it for me if I'm hungry. Now, if I'm extremely hungry, Yummzy mini baguette filled with some stuff. And yeah, you got the idea. So it's all Yummzy stuff. Just go on our website and you're going to find a few good things. And the ingredients are clean. I've done the research for you.
That's the good thing about having a business is when I want a snack, I'm just opening the fridge and going, oh, just a bit of cheese will do. You're going, I'll have a cupcake, I'll have Yummzy, I'll have that cake, I'll have...
With our accountant. Our accountant at the end of the month is like, okay, and how much worse did you buy or eat from Yummzy? And I'm like, don't ask me that. I've paid for it. Just move on. And he's like, I need to know the percentage of customers compared to the percentage of you. And I'm like, well, I have a few subscriptions going on. So then I hope that answers your question. It does sound delicious and it tastes delicious. Valia.
It does.
Valia, who's just above you in the comments, said a spoonful of Yummzy is my favorite snack. Oh, yes. You know what I'm talking about. So does Elliot. Right, guys, we're gonna go back to the comments. To the questions. And we stopped at, is keto diet safe? Does keto diet really work? I already answered this by giving the testimony about our neighbor and friend who lost a lot of weight in 3 months, like 20 kilos or 20 something kilos in 3 months. We all see the before and after pictures, but maybe we fine tune the question and say, does keto diet really work for weight loss, for other medicinal reasons? And we answer that.
Yes. It's kind of credited mainly to weight loss, epilepsy, and controlling type 2 diabetes, or putting it in remission or reversal. But it is not just those three things that it has loads of anecdotes and loads of research for. So, even down to like acne, people say that like acne and skin conditions get far better when doing keto. It's been shown to help with traumatic brain injury, to help the brain sort of rework itself. It's been shown to help with lots of different mental health problems. It's really quite beneficial to even to people that want to gain weight because they're underweight, can use the keto diet to do so. They just have to do it slightly different.
Oh, I didn't know it can be used for gain. Oh, yeah, I guess if they put a little bit of like carbs and increase their macros in general. Right. See, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I haven't met someone yet who wants to do that, but makes sense.
It's not usually used for that, but it can be.
Yeah. So for me, yes, and I've seen it with my own eyes. And as I mentioned earlier, we had a lot of cancer patients that used to come to Yummzy. A lot of them combined keto with alkaline diet, but many of them were keto. Some of them even keto and carnivores. So it does work. It depends what you need it for. And as Elliot explains, there are different reasons you would do keto for. Right. So how long have you been keto or low carb for?
Take away the 10 remote. No, 6 and a bit years now. I've been keto.
Really? Okay.
I had one break, sort of my second year in, for a month, and all I did for that month was eat Doritos and Oreos, and then went, I'm gaining weight and I feel rubbish and my skin's worse. I'm going to go back to keto.
I thought you were going to say I was eating exotic fruits and this and that, but I never tried an Oreo. So what's so appealing about an Oreo? Maybe I make an Oreo Yummzy now.
Imagine a sort of like vanilla fondant in the middle, like icing fondant, and then
sorry. What do you mean by vanilla fondant? Like frosting?
Sort of, yeah, like a little bit more creamy. Okay. And then the biscuit is just kind of like a standard biscuit, but it's got a very dark chocolate taste to it. Like sort of, it's really hard to describe if you don't have it.
I love it. I love dark chocolate. So anything with that, I'll take it. Well, it has carbs. No, I'm not going to take
it. 9, I think, per Oreo or something like that. It's high.
9 grams of carb. I would have to inject for that little biscuit?
Yeah.
If you eat 2 of our muffins, they will have 9 grams of carb and like 8 fiber or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, well. So for me, how long have I been keto for? Oh, well. So I became diabetic around 5. My parents started carb controlling around 5. So low carb or carb control, I'd say from 5 years old. Except for my teenage years, obviously, where I decided to go do my own thing, get a bit of eye complications and stuff in the process. I wouldn't know because of the teenage years. Maybe 4 or 5 years, I just got off it, and then I went back on it. And now I'm in my mid-30s. I'm 36, so just do the maths, like 30 years or so.
Years. How long? Years.
Oh, no. Yeah, 25 maybe. If you remove the other 5 after I got diabetes. But yeah. So let's check the comments. Louise, actually, if you have such strong cravings for low carb, you can start little by little. So some people just go cold turkey, and that's what causes things like keto flu and so on. Stubborn people go cold turkey. So people like me as well, because when I did the alkaline diet, I literally switched overnight. I used to be addicted to fizzy drinks, and not the healthy type of fizzy drinks, the not healthy types. So I used to drink like a liter of Diet Coke a day. And yeah, I know, I know. I didn't know about sweeteners then. And the way I did it, Louise, was to replace things that won't tempt me. And if I wanted a Diet Coke, I knew that I had it calculated in my head that for every sip of Diet Coke, I needed 40 sips of water to clean the effect of the Diet Coke from my body. So if I was craving a Diet Coke, I'm not going to have a sip. I'm going to have at least half a can. And I would drink half a can, and then I would drink 20 cans of water. By the 10th can, you're feeling physically sick. You actually, at some point, you want to throw up. And that's when your brain is telling your body, I hate Coke. I hate Coke. I don't ever want to touch Diet Coke. And that was the easy way I cut it off. Now, alkaline diet also says you need to focus on greens. You need 80% alkaline, 20% acid in your diet, because acid could also be things like stress, things like lack of sleep, cortisol, all of these things cause an acidic environment. So I aimed for 100% alkaline, but the moment I got rid of the Diet Coke, my aim was 100% food-wise to be alkaline. So I cut out things like salmon and so on. At the time, I didn't know much about vegan. And I cut out all of these things. And the next thing I know, I had alkaline and acid flu, which is something like keto flu, but worse. You even get something, not for me, but other people I know got something like bubonic plague, like that, proper rash and stuff.
But, and these are healthy.
No, but that's the body reacting. It's like
yeah, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
After a week, for me, it was like smooth sailing, and then that's when I integrated keto. But for my friend who couldn't just go keto straight away, the one I said who started keto in March and did really well, so she started by saying, okay, I'm going to cut out bread. So instead of bread, she started replacing that with keto options like lettuce, like Yummzy bread as well. She used to buy a Yummzy bread from us a lot. She still does. She literally phased out anything that's bread related. Then she phased out granola. Then she phased out everything that like that was affecting her way of eating. And to avoid any temptations, like one day she turned up at my doorstep and she had a bag full of chocolates and things like muesli bars and this and that. And I said to her, what am I going to do with this? And she said, hide it from me. I can't eat it. I said, I can't eat it. She was like, yeah, but I trust you won't eat it. I don't trust myself, so hide it.
Yeah, that is a really important thing with doing any kind of removal of carbs, is remove them or hide them.
Exactly. So that's the funny thing, Louise. She came 3 or 4 weeks afterwards. I think she was giving up on keto. And she was like, where is the bag of stuff I gave you? And I said, I gave it to homeless people. And she said, what? I didn't tell you to do that. And I said, well, you didn't want it. And you said you trust me. So I wasn't going to decorate the house with it. So just get rid of everything that will tempt you, but don't do it overnight unless, like Elliot and I, you're that stubborn with it. An easier way of doing it would be to replace things. So instead of saying, I'm not eating bread anymore, integrate more lettuce, integrate more Yummzy bread or other breads, integrate more things that will not make you miss the bread. Instead of saying, I can't.
I was going to say, have what you would have in a sandwich, but have it in a salad.
Exactly. That's an easy way of putting it. Thanks. And Megan said she had the keto flu because she went straight in. She tried to keep her electrolytes up, but didn't work. Would you recommend easing into low carb and trying it again?
I think there's 2 ways you can go about this. I completely understand that going through the bad keto flu makes you never want to take that approach ever again. I think the one way you can go in is, be carb conscious, slowly start to remove carbs or swap them out for other things, or go into keto again, but to raise your fat, get your fat nice and high, because we tend to overeat protein because we're not used to eating such high fat. I'm gonna tell you a little story of something that I did, and this comes into carb cravings as well. Every single time I had a carb craving, I had a little bag with little chunks of cheese in it. And every single time I had a carb craving, I'd eat a piece of cheese. It got to the point I was so full from the cheese, I was like, I don't want to ever think about carbs ever again in my life, because the cheese was just so filling all the time. And that was keeping my fats up as well.
So there you go. That worked for Elliot. Harshit, hi. We love your energy being with us today. And we have a question from Val. Any tips for anyone wanting to do vegan keto?
That's entirely on you. That's not me at all.
Yes, I know people say it's impossible to do vegan and keto, but it's totally possible. The one thing I would say is do it for the right reason. So if you're going vegan because I don't know, because you can't tolerate lactose and you can't tolerate eggs. I'm egg intolerant. So everybody says, why don't you make Yummzy treats cheaper by putting eggs in them? That will bulk them up, make them grow bigger, be cheaper. And I say, because then I won't be able to taste the stuff I do. And I'm not going to be able to ensure it's the right quality. So see why you want to be vegan. And if you want to be vegan for saving animals or for health reasons or so on, maybe don't do it overnight. Maybe try to make achievable the best way to succeed at things is not to try and do everything in one go. For some people that succeeds, but that means it was an easy task. For other people, if someone is eating meat every day and eating cheese and eggs and I don't know, give me more meat and non-vegan stuff,
Milk,
milk,
cream.
yeah, exactly, all of these things. And then suddenly they're like, I'm going to give all of this up and I'm going to give carbs up. You're going to end up having two flus, one for the keto and one for going totally vegan. And your body is going to hate you. So try to do it in ways where, as we were explaining earlier to Louise, try to phase out things and replace them with other things that will stop your cravings. Is vegan keto doable? Totally. That's why Yummzy exists. And but keto is all about meat and dairy and this and that. No, it's not. Actually, meat and all of this is called carnivore keto, and that's why it has a name to it. But there is vegan keto. It's called veto. And there are a lot of other variations like vegetarian keto, and there is pescatarian keto. I was pescatarian keto for many years. And actually, before even going vegan and all of this, I never used to eat meat. As a kid, my biggest fight with my parents was eat your meat, not eat your greens, eat your meat. And I used to say, but I don't like the taste of it. Like, someone eats a steak and goes like, I love this. It's so nice. I'm getting so much pleasure out of it. Really? There you go. So you're not carnivore keto or
I'm coming up to the end of, I was meant to be doing carnivore for a month straight, and then I got an order from Yummzy.
Maybe you should have sprinkled it with something on top, pork rind or something. No, but seriously, yes, it's totally doable. And I'm not going to tell you to look at our website because I know you are already, and I know you're one of our customers. So enjoy. And if you have any questions, also reach out to us. Hey, I'm doing keto, vegan, and alkaline. So that's even more complicated. So any other questions before we go back? Someone likes our matcha video. Amazing. Matcha. Okay. Brilliant. I love that. So we'll go back to our questions. And the next question is, how did keto benefit you personally? I'll go first because I discussed it already. It really helped with my diabetes. For those who missed it at the beginning, I was actually saying I didn't even know the word keto until we started Yummzy. So for me, I did low carb. And although I call it low carb, and I know there's a difference. People usually think of low carb as higher carb than keto. But my version of low carb was under 5 grams of carb, which I think qualifies as really strict keto. So, so yeah, for me, it was just, I'm looking at lower carbs, so I'm going to call it low carb. But it benefited me personally because one, it stopped the eye damage that I was having from diabetes, from going crazy during my wild years, teenage years. It also reversed kidney damage that I have, not fully reversed it, but reversed it to a point where I wouldn't need a new kidney. And it also benefited me in the sense that while all of my friends who are non-diabetic were constantly fighting with their weight, I think I'm lucky. Even at my biggest point, I was a size 14, basically. I mean, now I'm a size 8, 10, but for me, at my biggest point, I was a size 14. And I see that as a blessing, because when I was a size 14, it was when the doctors were telling me you need more carbs in your diet. And it was the teenage years I was talking about. So suddenly I was told every meal I have to have at least half a cup of rice or at least one potato or something like that. And that's what started the carb cravings, and that's what started the craziness. And that's when I was not keto. And these were the years that least benefited me. So keto literally saved my life in that sense, and probably gave me more longevity.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Elliot?
I mean, mine's, you've dealt with this your whole life. I've it's still
Hey, don't say old like I'm old, okay?
You're not.
Your whole life. Oh my God.
When I started keto, I was morbidly obese. And in the first week of doing keto, I'd lost 10 pounds. And I was like, okay, this is, I'll keep doing this. I lost 4 stone, but it wasn't the losing weight that kept me there. It was that suddenly my patella tendonitis, my problem in my knee, was gone. Suddenly, the fact that I had to sleep propped up with 7 pillows because of my acid reflux, gone. My anxiety, my depression, lowered. It was like, those were the things that was like, I am sticking with this because I am seeing benefits that have nothing to do with weight loss or weight gain. I've pretty much maintained the weight I'm at for a year and a half now.
Mhm.
But I stay for the lower acid reflux, for the patella tendonitis, for the better energy, for the, I'm not going to say sleep because my sleep's abysmal in and out of keto.
I can give you tips on that after the call if you want.
Yes, please.
I'm the kind of person, I put my head on the pillow.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm so.
Like Adrian even says sometimes he wants to have a conversation, and before he starts talking, I'm already snoring.
I put on an audiobook. And go, I'll just listen to one chapter. And then the next morning I'm like, well, that was a good book. Let's listen to the next one.
Oh my God, no, if I put an audiobook, the first 2 sentences, I'll fall asleep. Just the voice soothes me. I think I don't need a reason. I just fall asleep. It happens. Oh, well. So the next question, do I need to count calories on the keto diet?
I have a lot to say about this one. Do you want to go first, or shall I
Yeah,
just?
I do. Yay! So, if you're doing dirty keto, I wouldn't focus so much. My friend who lost so much weight since the beginning of March until June, July, she didn't need to calorie count. She didn't even check anything. She literally ate meat, ate Yummzy stuff, cleaned her diet, and ate a lot of cucumbers and lettuce and things like that. Now, she didn't look at anything. She didn't even check the carbs, because she sometimes she used to ask me, does this have a lot of carbs? And I would look at the picture she sends me or at the item, and I'd say yes or no, or you can have it, but I can't, because she wasn't very strict keto. Um, did she need to count calories? No, she didn't. Do I count calories? Now, here's what I'll tell you. And I'm not talking from a keto point of view. Now I'm putting a nutrition hat on. Even for someone who doesn't count carbs, for example, like for a child, some people say, oh, I don't want my child to carb count. Let them enjoy their life and everything. If I was a parent, I would say one thing. Don't count calories, count garbage calories. So you can give that child, I don't know, you can give that child something healthy that has carbs. I don't know, just give them an orange, or give them something to enjoy like that. That would be much better for them than a bag of crisps, which has less carbs than an orange. But unfortunately, it has garbage, and a lot of garbage calories because of the frying and this and that. So, do you need to count carbs on keto diet? Generally speaking, no. And in my case, I never look at calories, but I do look at the ingredients and what is contributing to those calories. Are they garbage or nutritious calories? And based on that, I make the decision, am I going to eat this or not? If I'm allowed 15 to 20 carbs a day, in my case, 15, unless I'm not well, then I might need more. I don't eat more than 5 carbs a meal. So if I'm going to do that, I need to make sure that this thing I'm eating will have the vitamins, minerals, everything I need, because I don't want to deplete my body. I don't want to get issues because of lack of potassium or lack of iron or lack of this or that or zinc. I want everything to be in my diet. So that's the only thing I would count: garbage versus nutritious calories. Go for it, Elliot.
I think you will never find two people in keto that have the same opinion on calories. It's like one of the massive debates is, do calories count? You know, do you need to count them? I would say from my point of view, obviously I don't have a nutritional background, is calories themselves are not important unless you are at a point where you are like trying to gain muscle or trying to lose weight and you need to be really precise with those calories. I would say personally, the important bit is the macros, which does tie into the calories because a gram of fat has 9 calories, a gram of carbs has 4 calories, a gram of protein has 4 calories. So they do, you know, intertwine, but it's the macronutrients that is more important than, well, I could have, you know, what would you rather have? A piece of cheese with more calories, but it's more filling, or 20 bags of crisps, which yes, has less calories, but as you said, if you look at like the ingredients and what's good for your body, whereas if you look at the macronutrients, you get a better idea of sort of what's good for you, what's not, where your levels should be.
Yeah, exactly. And we have a few questions here. Okay. Elliot, please, can you go vegetarian for a week? Is that your mom or your dad or someone who's living with you or your girlfriend or who?
It's going to be the family. It's
Guys, follow Yummzy channel. We're vegan on the channel and keto and gluten-free and delicious and fast.
My answer to that question is yes, you can do keto for a vegetarian for a week. Enjoy. I'll be eating the steaks and the ham and the
Oh, but seriously, guys, vegetarian is easier. So you can help them be vegetarian and then put your ham on the side and eat it yourself.
Exactly. You know, just fatted. There you go. Just do your fatted pizza. Yeah. That's vegetarian.
I thought it was bad being egg intolerant until I met my husband and I realized he's lactose intolerant. Bye bye cheese.
Oh, I just.
But yeah, Megan, you know what? We have not a surprise. You probably know and you're already subscribed. But if you subscribe to Yummzy's channel, it's called Yummzy Desserts. 80% of the recipes are actually savory because we sell the desserts. So if you subscribe to our channel, we do a lot of vegan options. And if you convince Elliot to do a vegan recipe for us or ginger keto, we would feature them there as well. So, because I enjoy someone else coming up with a recipe. So maybe they'll surprise me with something cool.
Hint.
So do a lot of convincing on this guy and ginger keto. And the next question, do you think that you have to be willing to make a lot of food from scratch to commit to keto? And do you think keto lifestyle is time consuming in the sense that you need time to make and prep food? So, Louise, I'll answer your question pre-Yummzy and post-Yummzy. Pre-Yummzy, I used to be an IT consultant. So sometimes I remember my worst week was Sydney, Singapore, Torino in Italy, and then Canada in 1 week. 4 countries in 1 week. And
are you sure you're a traveling crew?
No, I wasn't.
Wow.
I worked for an IT consultancy at the time that enjoyed ping-ponging me around. They're like, oh, we have a very critical meeting and we need people to agree to this. So we'll put Jolie in it. Yeah, but guys, it has nothing to do with my specialty. Yeah, you'll go, you'll do it. So to answer your question, even then, when I was staying in hotel rooms and I didn't have the option of cooking or doing anything, I could still be low carb and keto. Like the worst when I was at my rock bottoms in that week, all I did was walk to a supermarket, buy some cucumber, buy some, at the time I wasn't vegan. So I bought some salmon, smoked salmon and so on. And I just took it back to my hotel room and I ate it. And it was so delicious. In the hotels, you can always say, can you alter this salad to not have this and that and that? And they will do it for you. Or can you alter this? If you eat steak, I don't know, can you alter this steak to not have this or that in it? So committing to keto, no. And if you like to cook everything from scratch, that's still okay. You have a lot of recipes from Ginger Keto, from Elliot, Keto Kitchen, and we also do a lot of recipes that are vegan as well. If you're not vegan, don't be scared. You can just replace the tofu with a meat steak or something, and just let it marinate for longer than the tofu. So, or marinate longer than the aubergines, or marinate longer than whatever it is you're using in there, the jackfruit or whatever it is. So, no, I think it's not time consuming. Same way you'll prepare any meal, you just need to be consciously aware that you are avoiding certain things and you're replacing them with other things. Would you like to add anything, Elliot?
No, I think you hit it on the head, really. The only thing I would say is that you don't have to make intricate meals. This is something that a lot of people say to me is, like I said, you don't have a sandwich. But I just take what I want from the sandwich and either eat it on its own or put it in a salad. But you can just have like veggies, like green veggies and protein, and then make sure you're getting fats with it. And that is a full meal.
And you can, I mean, some people, for example, when I'm busy, I can't eat a full meal because I know if I eat a full meal, I'm going to be a bit afterwards. I don't want to work anymore. So in that case, I've been well known in my teenage years, not the high carb ones, the other ones, to graze a lot. Like even my mom, when she used to put lunch, I wouldn't have my lunch in one go. I would have it and then I would walk around and then I'd come back and have the rest of it. Because for me, like I can't eat it all in one go. I feel full and then I feel hungry afterwards.
Yeah.
So just plan it that way to fit your diet needs, or your keto or vegan or this or that. Next question from our audience. Who are some of your favorite other keto content creators online? Can I go first?
Go on, go for it.
We love Elliot's channel. We love it. And we love Ginger Keto. And I was just saying at the beginning of this video that not because Elliot is here, I'd say this behind his back, but a lot of the time I want to try or not try a certain thing. And I'm not good with comments and things like that. So probably you don't see me comment a lot. But a lot of the time I want to try one of Elliot's, like I want to try something. And before I try it, I actually look it up on Elliot's video. And if I find it there, that helps me make the decision if I want to go with it or not go with it. So I also like it when he mentions the ingredients, because that helps me see if it's vegan, if it has lactose, if it has eggs and these things. And I know not every keto person has our intolerances, but it's just nice that he covers everything. He covers the price range, which triggered a question about the Impella later on. And he covers everything. So I really like that. Ginger Keto, I really like her channel because she does a lot of fast recipes, and not everybody that comes to visit us, not that anybody visits these days, but not everybody that visits us is vegan. So sometimes you gotta cater for people who are keto and not vegan, and you want to make them happy. And I have to say it's a quick save, because some of her recipes are literally 2 minutes and it doesn't take any time to do
Mix,
that.
boom, done. That's what she says, is mix, boom, done.
Oh yeah, there you go. Mix, boom, done. But yeah. What about you, Elliot?
I mean, obviously I'm going to have to say you lovely
You don't
folk.
have to.
No, I do. I want to. I want to. I enjoy seeing different aspects of keto, because it isn't just you eat this way. It's, as you said, you've got your intolerances, vegan. It's interesting to see. Then there is Ginger. Ginger has, not only does she do really good sciencey videos, really quick recipes, she has helped me a lot behind the scenes and has done a lot of shouting out for me and things. And that is, of course, that's going to put her really high up on the list. She's really, both her and Robin, they are really helpful.
They both did a lot of work with us as well when we were in the shop. Like I remember she even did like testing her blood with our products after eating them and before eating them, and they were amazing. She also she opened her eyes to many things. I think, if I'm not mistaken, she was the main push. She and another customer of ours called Lauren. Lauren, if you're watching this, thank you. They were the main push that motivated us to ship nationwide. And thanks to them, that's why we went nationwide. So ladies, thank you for this.
Brilliant.
I really appreciate it.
Then I would say on YouTube, there is a creator, I believe she's American, called I Don't Sugarcoat. And she's quite new on the scene, but she plays with lupin flour a lot. And lupin flour is a little bit of a specialty for me. So I really enjoy watching to see what she kind of does with lupin flour.
I'm going to follow her right now.
She's really good stuff. And then outside of YouTube, There's what I call my Bible blogs. They're 2 blogs that I trust no matter what they upload. I know it's going to taste good. Number 1 is All Day I Dream About Food. Carolyn, her recipes are the most incredible things constantly. She is just really, she's American. She's really pushing the bar just consistently. I think the first thing I ever tried by her was a Victoria sponge cake, and it was like, I couldn't tell the difference. And this was when I was really early.
Is it this profile?
Yes, it is. Yes.
I'm following it now. Caroline, you just got a new follow. Not that you need it. You have 255K, but yeah.
And the other one is Nom Nom, GNOM. She's just amazing as well. She's incredible. The things she comes up with are really good. And really, you know, when someone just photographs something in such a way that you go, I just want to reach through my screen and have that right now. Like, she's really good at that.
Oh.
I don't know if she has Instagram. I follow her blog.
Oh, on a blog. Okay.
Mm.
No, I can't find her on Instagram. Okay, I'll look it up.
I'll have to link you. I think it's nom, GNOM-nom.com, I believe it is. I'll link you afterwards. I'll send you a link.
Okay, cool. Yes, please. Right, and we're gonna go back to the questions again until we have more questions from the viewers. Oh yeah. Where can I find low carb keto recipes? I think we discussed that already. Sign to our channel, sign to Elliot's channel, sign to Ginger Keto, sign to these 2 that Elliot mentioned, which I just followed. Can you name a few types of foods that don't miss from your weekly diet?
I mean, your typical carbs, your bread, your potato, your pasta, your rice.
No, that don't miss things that you would.
Don't miss. I don't. Okay. Okay.
I was thinking about that, and then when you answered it, I was like, his answer is a bit too easy. I can do that.
So I have bread every day. No.
Whoa, Yummzy bread.
I don't ever miss from my weekly diet.
I can go first.
I've got to say almond flour. Almond flour is my 101 flour. Love to work with it. Love cooking with it. Cheese and meat, and they're my only like definites. I have like really, you'd be surprised with what I put on the channel. I eat really simply.
That's good. Back to basics, huh? So what foods do I not miss from my weekly diet? I'm a huge fan of psyllium husk. So you probably realize that in a lot of the Yummzy recipes as well. Not Homzy, but Yummzy, the ones we sell. I'm a huge fan when it comes to aubergine. And I know too much is not too good, but I do like aubergine. And I'm a huge fan, well, almond flour, who's not, huh? So yeah, those 3 things. Lettuce as well. I love lettuce. Like, there is a joke in our family that if I go to the movies, I don't eat popcorn. I usually come with a bag of lettuce. So I've been known as the rabbit in the cinema. I've been known as many other words for obvious reasons. But yeah, you always find me like Bugs Bunny biting on something, not a carrot, but yeah, lettuce or something like
that. So you seem more sort of vegetables are like a definite in your diet. You have to have like your leafy greens and things like that.
Like, you know, with kids, you always shout at kids and say, eat your greens. My parents usually shouted at me to eat my meat. And I'd be like, can I have more greens instead? And even with my cousins, like when we were a few kids sitting on the same table, like I'd make a deal with one of my cousins. If I give you my meat, would you give me your broccoli? And they'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, okay. And of course, they're the winners there because they like the meat. And I'd be like, no, give me more broccoli. I gave you meat. You should give me more broccoli. Meat costs more. So yeah, I love these things. Right. And and Yumtella. That's my new addiction. I can't let go of that. Yumtella. That's something I definitely don't miss from my daily diet, let alone weekly.
I think it's so important for anyone watching. If you have never tried Yumtella, you need to go and get some. It goes on everything. The other night I had it on, basically I made scrambled eggs with a little bit of cream. I put a little bit of sweetener in it. I'll make this like sweet scrambled eggs and put Yummtella on it.
What?
And it was incredible. It was
I can't have eggs. Why are you telling me this? Now I'm tempted.
it was incredible. It goes on everything. Everything.
Eggs. I gotta try that. But how? I can't have eggs. Yeah, and guys, if you're gonna buy it in bulk, because the more you buy, the cheaper it works out. I'm subscribed to 8 jars a month, and I still end up buying more on top. So it's chronic. Never mind. Do you know of any myths about the ketogenic diet? I've been told many times it's going to increase my cholesterol, but actually it didn't.
Yeah, it's I mean that's a whole crazy story on its own about cholesterol and why it's pinned to high fat foods and things like that. I honestly think the most important myth is that keto is a fad diet, because the term itself, ketosis, yeah, it's only been around for about 100 years because it was coined by Roland Turner Woodyatt when he realized that you could use it for epilepsy. So the term
Yes.
itself, to be ketogenic, ketosis, is a fairly new term in history. However, if you look into the diets of tribes that are still around today, like the Inuits, like the Maasai people, the Chukotka people, Native American tribes, if you look at their diet and how often they eat these things, it's moderate protein, high fat, low carb, it's keto.
It is the closest to the caveman diet. That's what I used to do before I like thought, oh, keto this, keto that. But yeah, it is like a caveman's diet. So
And that they would eat like potatoes and things, but they'd have to actually
seasonal.
Yeah, seasonal. So they'd have it for maybe 2 months of a year.
Yeah. Because they wouldn't have the option of planting these things or even finding them in a nomadic lifestyle the whole year round.
Yeah.
What other myths? There was one I heard before. Oh yeah, you'll be severely constipated, which is not really a myth. A lot of people have that. I think I don't have that problem because of the psyllium husk. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, definitely the one that, oh, it raises your cholesterol. Oh, you're going to have heart attacks and strokes. And yeah, all that jazz. Some people, including some nutritionists, say that keto diet is not actually healthy for anybody. What are your thoughts on starting a keto diet lifestyle?
I'm so passionate about this one. I'm so
Go for
passionate
it.
about it. I need to put on my
You even
tinfoil
came
hat.
forward on the chair.
I did. I sat up. I need to put on my tinfoil hat for this one, because if you don't do keto, you're going to go, he's crazy. He's absolutely mental.
Oh dear. Guys, no judgments. Everybody here can say what they believe in. It's not a medical channel, but we did our research and we know what we're talking about. And if he says something that doesn't fit nutritionally, I will stop him.
Do I have to say allegedly and in my opinion? There you go. That's the word. In my opinion. I believe that this thought that keto is severely bad for everyone comes from faulty old science. Because you spoke about cholesterol. The big piece of research came from the 40s that high LDL cholesterol raises your chance of having a heart attack. Well, if we put people on a low-fat diet, their LDL goes down. Therefore, a high-fat diet like keto raises your chance of having a heart attack because it's high fat. But this study didn't take into consideration things like genetics have a play on cholesterol, that hormonal changes have a play, that 70% of cholesterol in the body has been proven since then to be made in the body, and that dietary cholesterol doesn't have a massive impact. So you've got all of that information that comes out in the 40s, and then you have companies that go, try this yogurt that will lower your LDL. Then they fund anti-low carb research. If you Google sugar lobby, you will literally come across, it only recently came to light in the last few years, there was research in the 60s where sugar industry, these companies, paid scientists to basically downplay the effects of sugar and point the blame at fat. And this all came out recently, like in the last few years, under the sugar lobby. And it is like, oh my gosh. So you've got things then, like my doctor always says to me, you have to make sure you're eating breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day. And you go, well, where's the science behind that?
Or even better, have cornflakes for breakfast.
You look into the science behind that, And it started because John Kellogg needed a slogan for his new breakfast company. Then the companies went, oh, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Let's add vitamins and things so that we can do research on it to say it is really important for you. So honestly, people don't seem to realize how much the food industry dominates and has an effect on medical research. So, you know, these sugar companies, they have in the past acknowledged research that counters that, you know, carbs are bad for you, and they kind of just brush it away because they will lose profit if people go, I'm not going to eat that cereal anymore because it's bad for me. So it's at the point now where I try so hard to be unbiased because obviously I'm not a professional in this. So a lot of my sort of work is research. I will always, first thing I always do when I look at a piece, because I look at negative and pros for keto and sort of look at how they've done them, I go to who funds it. And if it is funded by a certain red labeled fizzy drinks company that has a lot of say on research, I just completely skip it. I just move on because the food industry has a lot of say on where this research directs.
It's always who pays for it as well. So you're totally right with that. Well, I can't put it in any better words. I'm trying to see if you missed anything, but no, I think you fully covered it. You fully covered it for me, actually. It's always also about the agenda of the person looking at it. So even in keto, you'll see, like, we had some customers that came to the shop who were keto, and they said they traveled from far. And the moment they knew it was keto and vegan, they're like, I don't do vegan things. And they actually walked out. And I was thinking, how narrow-minded, like, okay, I get it. You came because we're keto, you're keto. What's the problem in it being vegan? Like, just put a slice of cheese on top of it, or just put, just sprinkle something on it that's not vegan. And
Yum teller in eggs.
that, which I'll never be able to try. Thanks, Elliot. I'll keep dreaming about it now. Now I'm gonna miss sleep over this. Thank you. But yeah, so it's really what is the agenda, and you really need to watch out to that. We'll snip back into the comments section. There are a few things here. Oh, Megan, have you ever considered doing cooking live streams?
This is a sneaky one from Megan because this is a friend in real life and she knows the answer to this. Yes, I have been kind of thinking about it backwards and forwards and not really sure, but my sort of support system around me have kind of taken away everything that would make it not possible. Oh, I don't have a great live streaming camera. Well, we bought you a camera. Oh, and I don't have this. Well, we've done this for you. It's like, I have to do it now. So I'm going to just have a go on Twitch, which is a live streaming platform. I'm just going to have a go on Twitch and see how it goes, see if, people are interested in that kind of thing.
Well, in our side, Megan, we had a few customers ask us to do like this for them live. And while I'm comfortable in front of the camera, I'm not sure I'll be good in the live because I'm the kind of person, I'll be stable in front of the camera, but my feet are everywhere moving. So I don't think that will work out with the wires, but it's something Adrian is pushing, my husband is pushing for. So maybe he will tie my feet together and then I can do a live without knocking off any lights or knocking off any cameras or knocking off anything in the vicinity.
I think the best thing to do, and this is what everyone keeps telling me, is just give it a go. If it doesn't work after one, you just don't do it again.
You just buy a new camera and new lights instead of the ones I killed. Yeah, that works. And Megan said, I can't wait for these Twitch live streams. Yummzy, you can do it too. We'll see. We'll see if I get restrained for it. Your dad was talking about the part where we said constipation from keto, and he said, try a bag of sugar-free gummy bears. That'll clear any constipation. That's the problem. I can't. Not that I have that problem, but I can't because I'm allergic to all the sweeteners they use in there. They use the cheapest sweeteners.
Alternatively, have celeriac. Have like celeriac root.
I'm happy with my psyllium husk. I never had that problem. I hear people have it, but
celeriac is great for mimicking chips and mash. But we're all keto in my house. We all had celeriac mash, and we never had it again because we needed gas masks.
Too much detail, guys. Too much detail. Well, your dad being sweet tooth went for the sweeter tooth option.
Of course he did.
So, what's your go-to keto treat and what's your go-to keto meal? Oh, we answered this before.
We
I
did,
think
didn't we?
yeah. Oh, yeah, we answered it from the comments, and this is from the questions that came up on Instagram.
I don't think we said go to like meal. What is our
Not the meal, but we did say the treats. Yeah, go for it. Meal.
fathead pizza? If I could only eat one thing in the world ever again, it would be fathead pizza, because you can do so many different things with it, like on how you cook it and things. I adore almond flour fathead pizza.
Mm. I never tried it, but maybe I will.
I mean, you have to figure out how to replace the egg. You don't really need it, I don't think. I think I do one without an egg. So
Otherwise, Adrian wouldn't be very but yeah, it sounds interesting. I saw so many videos about it, so it must be really good in taste. And like, it's so, when you pull it, it's like gooey and stuff. And
I've honed in on it in the last 6 years, to the point I need to share this recipe because I haven't done it, but I can make it taste like a Domino's pizza, like down to just how yeah, honestly, I'm not
sharing the recipe.
It's incredible.
Awesome. What's my go-to meal? Does Yumtella count as a meal? I mean, borderline. If you put it on Yummzy bread, that is a meal, right?
Yeah.
It is. But no, I think for a meal, because you need the proteins as well, you need the fat, you need all of this. Not that the Yumtella doesn't have it, but in the right quantity, it would cost me. Triple choco heart, the cupcake with the chocolate. Or simply, I do like my favorite meal, but you have to make it from scratch, because if you buy the sauces ready, you're not gonna have much benefit keto wise, because they usually have extra sugar. But I love Thai cuisine, so aubergine curries, things like that. I love it. It's heartwarming. If not vegan, I'm a salmon addict, and I used to make low carb sushi the whole time. So that was amazing. I love that. We were planning to open Yummzy on the high street before all of this mess happened. And we were going to bring sushi in to the equations.
Oh my God.
But the other thing, the one thing I would never touch, and I know a lot of keto people do, which is not very relevant to this question, is cauliflower. It's something psychological. I can't be in the same room with cauliflower. So you'll never catch me using cauliflower in any of the recipes we do on Yummzy. Like, even a few days ago, we bought something that was broccoli, and the grocery store decided to give us broccoli and cauliflower. And it was almost like I saw a ghost. I was like, take it out. So yeah, when people talk cauliflower pizza, cauliflower this, cauliflower that, I'm like, cringe.
I think the good thing with cauliflower is that you can replace it with broccoli. Like, luckily, it's not something that is like irreplaceable.
So cool.
Yeah.
With like, it's so good. I love broccoli. Yeah, no problem there. And can you name some of the unwanted effects of the keto diet?
In general, or in my case?
Let's do both, because I can't think of any, to be honest.
I mean, this is a difficult question because, you know, we are a little bit biased, but I think the biggest unwanted effect is the keto flu. It is called a flu because it mimics a flu. You feel brain foggy, you feel irritable, you feel just like really unwell. When I first went through keto, because I didn't know anything about electrolytes, I had every single symptom, including the rash, which is really like rare. So it was like, I'm amazed I managed to actually get through it and carry on, because I've always like given up on diets and things like that. But as I said, electrolytes, if you're having enough electrolytes and you are eating enough fat, it is like you can minimize it or potentially not go through the keto flu at all. The other sort of
for electrolytes, just while we're on that one, what would you take for electrolytes?
The three that I think are most important are sodium, potassium, and magnesium. For sodium, just add salt to things, put salt in your tongue. Just salt is great for that. Potassium, I find it quite difficult to get enough in my food. So you can get it, I believe, from like leafy greens and nuts. But if I feel like I'm low on potassium, because I'm at a point now where I can kind of tell what symptoms mean I'm low on what, I just take a supplement. For magnesium, again, you can get it from sort of a lot of the vegetables and things coincide. Like you can get it from, I think spinach has some and nuts have some and meat has some. But just adding Epsom salt to your bath does the job like perfectly, because your body,
magnesium is better absorbed in
through
that
skin.
kind of, yeah.
Is
It's better absorbed through the skin than
oh, brilliant.
That's why when you go to the beach and you're swimming on the beach, it helps the body heal as well.
Oh, brilliant.
So for me, you were gonna say another unwanted effect. Sorry,
Yes.
I just want to focus on the on the minerals part.
The only other sort of effect that I think is massively unwanted is that there is a reason that people say sugar is as addictive as Class A narcotics. When I first started keto, I had the most insane carb cravings. Like I wanted a strawberry that was dipped in chocolate orange that was deep fried with ice cream. Like I just had the most
weird. That's really weird.
Yeah. And getting over those carb cravings was probably the only other really difficult part, but I didn't have enough electrolytes and that doesn't help.
That's actually the only thing I can think of. Can you name some of the unwanted effects of the keto diet? At the beginning, if you used to be consuming a lot of sugar, because I've seen that happen with some of my friends or some of our customers, if you're consuming a lot of sugar, it might not even be fully blown keto flu, but definitely people get headaches and migraines. And if you think about it, if you're addicted to a drug and you just stop it overnight, you are going to get headaches. So it is the addictive part. And if you're getting a headache, that means your body is going in the right direction at that point. Yes, you're going to have mood swings. Again, it's down to the addiction. It's the same as someone who drinks 7 cups of coffee and then they try to reduce coffee to 2 or cut it to totally. So that's the only unwanted effect I hear of. For me, it wasn't an issue because I've been low carbing for a while, but obviously the few years that I wasn't, yes, it was an issue to come back. Other unwanted effects, which we discussed earlier, we hear a lot of people struggling with constipation, but as Elliot said, like a lot of leafy greens can help. As Elliot's family mentioned, a lot of the nasty sweeteners can help as well. And as I mentioned, psyllium husk is a great balance. Like psyllium husk is great even for people without keto, not doing keto. So, and it's full of fiber. So why not give that extra push to your body? Okay, I shouldn't have used that word, but yeah, why not give that to your body? Moving on, swiftly moving on. Are there any negative effects of the keto diet for you personally? Do you ever miss or crave carby foods?
Do you want to go first? I'll have a think on that one.
Are there any negative effects of the keto diet for you personally? No. Even when my friends are eating like an ice cream dipped in chocolate, dipped in strawberry that's fried in mushrooms or whatever you were saying earlier. No, I don't crave it. Do you ever miss or crave carby foods? No, actually, I almost feel bad when I see someone eating it because I know it's scientifically proven that it will shorten their lives. And if it's someone I like and I see them eat carbs, it can even escalate into a fight because I'm like, I care about you. Stop eating this stuff. It's bad for you. It's going to shorten your life. So I've been well known for being very passionate about this since I was young. So no and no is my answer.
Fair enough. I suppose you're not going to have many negatives if you've been doing it since you were young, because you don't really know much different apart from those teenage years.
Which were horrible. I felt really horrible with those, and I had really bad side effects. So I'm terrified of sugar, to be honest.
I think the only sort of 2 negatives I get that are directly correlated with keto is if I experiment a lot. It's part of, YouTube is I like to do 7-day fasts. I like to do carnivore egg fasting, that kind of thing. When I experiment or I get stricter, my keto breath comes back. And this is basically just my mouth tasting like nail polish, but it does go away on its own. it goes away on its own. It's quite, yes,
Is it that strong?
Yeah.
I have it if I skip a meal, but it's usually not that strong. And if I just eat like even a bite of something, it goes away.
Yeah,
But if you're fasting for long, you can't afford to have a bite of something. Okay, yeah, I see.
But it does obviously go away on its own because you're breathing out acetone. Your body gets used to actually using that acetone as well as the other ketones. And the other one is, I'm just a pain when it comes to ordering food out, because it's like, can I have the steak without this, and then that with the salad without the dressing? I don't want that. You know, it's just it's a bit of a nuisance.
My whole life, so everybody got used to it. Everybody would order and leaves me last, and then when I finish ordering, they look at the waiter and they're like, "You still didn't bring the food." Oh yeah, you were taking it. But yeah, for me, I'd say no and no. But yeah, if you're doing fasting and all this, yeah, that's hardcore.
Yeah.
What ingredients do you avoid in keto products?
I think I'm quite a quick answer here. I personally try to avoid maltitol. It doesn't have a horrendous effect on my body, but sugar at one point didn't have a horrendous effect on my body until I started over consuming it. So I just try to avoid maltitol, and it's like a one-off treat if I do have it. Otherwise, nowadays I'm quite relaxed with what I eat, in terms of I buy these products that have tapioca fiber and this and that and things that I wouldn't have touched years ago, but I'm at a point where I understand them and I want to help other people understand them. But I try to kind of keep the things I buy, I try to keep the ingredients to a minimal. So Yummzy stuff, you guys have real 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 14 lists of ingredients that are all like stabilizers, and you've got real simple short ingredients, and that's the kind of thing I try to aim for most of the time. Otherwise, I don't really avoid any ingredient apart from your typical flour and sugar.
Yeah, I'd say very close answer to me, but for me, maltitol is the same as sugar when it comes to like blood glucose levels. So I avoid maltitol like the plague. So, or in modern times, I avoid maltitol like COVID. They should change that saying. Also, because I know the long-term effects of maltitol, it's one thing to try and be healthy, and that's what Yummzy is trying to do. So it's one thing to say to people, low carb, gluten-free, vegan, healthy, this, that, and then give them something that in the long term might cause them things like cancer or things like that. So I'm a strong believer in your body is a temple and you should treat it as so. So I'm very strict what I put. So maltitol is definitely a no-no for me. Luckily, I don't tolerate sweeteners very well, except for stevia, which is a plant, and erythritol, which is more tolerated by me. Actually, in big amounts, I can't tolerate it either. And I'm not talking like big amounts. I'm talking like 2 cupcakes, which
Right.
a normal customer from ours will happily eat 3 cupcakes, no problem. 4 cupcakes even. But I avoid these a lot as well. What other ingredients that are not directly linked to keto, but I do avoid gluten, because it's a new trend where a lot of keto places, they actually add gluten, which is a protein. It's not a carb, it's a protein. But it means that the bread will go from this size to being this size with the same ingredients. So, of course, it makes sense to use eggs and gluten in that case, because you want it to go from this to that using the same ingredients. I avoid gluten because when my grandmother used to make cakes or bread or this or that, they just used flour, which had a little bit of gluten. But unfortunately, nowadays, even the flour you buy or the bread you buy, it has from the shop, even if you're not keto, it has extra added gluten. And our body is not okay with that. I mean, if we're looking at the caveman diet and all of the things we were talking about earlier, you would never find the caveman taking grains, making them into flour, making bread out of it, and adding extra gluten to that bread before baking it. It's just like, it's not like they're going to extract extra gluten out of the wheat and do that. So I do avoid gluten a lot. And obviously the sweeteners that I mentioned, the only sweeteners I touch are stevia and erythritol. Monk fruit is great. Many people love monk fruit. In my case, I don't know why. And I've heard a few people said that, about 20% of people. And I thought it was a Canada thing because the first time I tried it was in Canada, and it tastes a bit citrusy for me. It has this citrusy taste. Like I'm drinking like a cup of matcha, and it's meant to taste like matcha, but for me it tastes a bit like matcha and a sweet grapefruit in the matcha. And I thought it was just me, or I thought it was the Canadian brand we were using when we were in Canada, but no, it's very strong even in UK brand.
I think
I've heard a few people say that as well.
I think monk fruit's one of the only sweeteners I've never tried.
Let me know if you have that, because I heard it from 2 or 3 people only, which still makes me think maybe we're weird like that. But
Like with coriander, with cilantro, some people think
yeah,
it's soapy, some don't. Maybe it's like that.
don't say the C word. Adrian might hang up the whole live session.
Is it soapy for him?
Oh my God, when we go to a restaurant and they serve him something, like if they just put 2 leaves of coriander, it's like they insulted him personally. He takes personal offense. He literally gets up and I'm like, honey, it's okay. I'll eat them. I'm not kissing you if you touch it or eat it. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll give it back to the waiter.
If something's served with cauliflower and cilantro, both of you are running out the building.
Yeah, cauliflower for me, I avoid it for psychological reasons, but I'm sure it's not going to kill me. Or maybe it would. I don't know. But yeah, these are the ingredients I would avoid. Definitely bad sweeteners, gluten, and the ingredients you mentioned as well. Oh, did our audience fall asleep, or are we answering all their questions without needing to ask anymore? Keto versus paleo, and why? Shall I go first?
I feel like you're going to have a lot more experience on this.
So I'll be honest, I went to a few paleo places, and paleo is huge in Canada and other countries. And many times I thought, I'm going to get away with it. I'm sure they're going to have something that's close enough to low carb and I can enjoy it. No, because even when you buy a matcha, unless it's a fresh matcha, if it's like a bottled matcha, it will have something like agave syrup or honey or something that I can't even touch with a stick. So for me, paleo, I mean, I love the whole idea behind it. I love the whole raw. Our yam tala is raw, and it counts as paleo without all the carbs added. But it's just, I can't, for me as a type 1 diabetic, I can't eat paleo unless my sugar levels are low and I do need the carbs. And that would be my next option. If I need carbs and I'm somewhere without any fruits or so on, I would go for something paleo. But otherwise, I wouldn't be able to live on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I more or less the same. There's a cafe around me that I do really like, and they kind of say that they're completely keto, but they use like sultanas and things in some of their recipes, and it's like it's paleo. What you're doing is paleo. I think paleo is, for me, absolutely not. I'm happy on keto, but I think it's the kind of diet that's quite good for people that just want to learn how to eat more healthy, like have a more healthy mindset. So like when I started keto, every week we would let ourselves have a Nature Valley bar. Now Nature Valley bars have like 26 grams of carbs in them, but it was, do I want a Nature Valley bar or do I want a Mars bar? So it was kind of learning like healthier habits. It wasn't, healthy for me, but it was getting your brain to go pick the apple over the toffee apple, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Actually, that's a very valid point, Elliot. A lot of healthy products actually end up having worse macros than products we take for granted. So, for example, things like my friend was saying, she loves giving her kids fruits, and they can eat apples all day. And I was thinking, why not give them another fruit? Like banana will fill them up more than an apple. No, but they love apples, and they're easy and they're healthy. And I was showing her how an apple, a nice big red apple, has about 23 grams of carb. And I was showing her how a can of Coke has about exactly the same amount of carbs.
Yep.
And I was saying a banana will fill them up more, so they're not going to consume as much. But at the same time, it's not going to trigger that extreme sweet taste, which will keep them craving for more apples. So yeah, it's very true. Like even products that mark them as healthy, like granola bars and things like that, some of them have way more carbs than actual chocolate bars.
We used to do this fascinating thing. I say used to because the time we live in right now, where we would go down the cereal aisle and compare cereal's carbs. Lucky Charms, the cereal with marshmallows in it, has less carbs than cornflakes.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. That's crazy.
So if you want to be healthy and cut down your kids' sugar, give them Lucky Charms instead of. Do you know that's the correlation that they're implying?
How?
Yeah,
I know. Marshmallows have a lot of eggs.
Say it again. Sorry.
Is it because marshmallows have a lot of eggs?
It could be. It could be less eggs, more quantity of the marshmallows to. But
Wow.
it's just fascinating. If you actually compare two items together, you are blown away by the results.
Yeah. A lot of things when we look at them. Some natural juice has more than a can of Coke. It's crazy. But yeah, it is what it is. And unlike nut allergies, they don't tell people this is high sugar. They just, because it's natural juice, then okay, it's good for kids, I guess.
Yep.
So yeah. Right. General advice for everyone thinking to start a keto diet lifestyle.
My number one piece of advice is take photos. Take them in as little clothing as you can bear seeing yourself in if you're not happy with how you look. It doesn't matter if you don't look at them. It doesn't matter if you hate them. Take the photos so that when you are where you want to be, you can go, wow, look at what I've achieved. I have barely any photos of me obese from here down. So I really wish I'd taken photos, but I hated being photographed. And you've got to remember that the scales aren't necessarily reliable. They'll show you an up and down, but they don't take into consideration water weight. They don't take into consideration when you last went to the bathroom. Muscle is heavier than fat. They take none of that into consideration. The best way to see your results, if you're not physically measuring them, is to take photos. That's my biggest piece of advice.
That's a very good piece of advice. General advice for everyone thinking to start a keto diet lifestyle. When you want to start anything, try to know the kind of person you are. If you're the kind of person who will quit smoking overnight, go for it. Start keto overnight. If you're not that kind of person, don't push yourself because you will have a yo-yo effect and you don't want to end up in that situation. So learn your personality first. If you're the kind of person who can do things in transition better than just overnight, definitely do it transition. Also, there are so many people who did this before you, from cavemen all the way to Elliot and I. So feel free to, can't contact the cavemen, but feel free to get in touch with people who know how to do it. And you're not going to live long enough to make all the mistakes and learn everything yourself, but get as much as you can from other people's experiences.
And I think on top of that, it is very important that it's not one size fits all, even on keto.
Definitely.
There are so many different variations of keto that people do. Some people even cycle keto because they're like bodybuilders and that's what works best for them. Even sat right here are two completely different variations of keto. I go higher protein, lower fat. You go more sort of a vegan and you are really strict with how many carbs you have. You do vegan.
No, I do high protein. I do high protein as well. So actually,
okay.
Funny enough, my protein would probably be almost like, not almost, but like the fat would be about maybe this much more than the protein, but the carbs would be way down here. So yeah, so for me, protein is much bigger than other keto people.
I can deal with maltitol a little bit. I do use gluten if I make like a specific bread. That's what works for me. It doesn't work for you, but it doesn't mean that either of us are wrong. It just means that we have different bodies.
What works for you or what works for the other person.
Absolutely.
And some people do keto with like 15 or 10 grams of carb a day, while other people, or 5 grams per meal, and other people do it. I know people who do keto and they say they take 70 grams, but when I ask, what were you taking before you went keto? They say, oh, I was having about 140 or 150. I'm like, okay, yeah, fine. They are cutting their carbs. Can't argue with that.
And I think this is so important, is enjoy it. Enjoy the keto lifestyle or diet, because everyone thinks that all we eat is bacon, avocado, and butter.
Oh, but
It's
I love avocados. I wouldn't mind living on avocados.
but you can make so many delicious cakes. You
True.
can make so many delicious cookies. You can take pretty much any dinner that you would want, like a lasagna or a pizza, and there is a keto version for it, or you can make one that tastes just as good. And then, of course, there's companies such as yourselves that do
Ta-da!
incredible snacks. And I'm not just
Amazing.
saying that. My spoon's waiting for me. My spoon with Yummzy's waiting for me.
We had a question. I don't see it in the banner, but we had a question of someone saying, after Elliot's video, are you planning to reduce the price of the Yummzy?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay, but it's a good question because I will explain it in the video, and hopefully the person is watching this or will watch it. We only use very, very premium products. So the stevia we buy costs a few times what other brands would cost. But that's why we can full-heartedly say, give it to a toddler, no problem. As long as they don't have nut allergy, it's very good. It's no problem. It's stevia. The Yamtilla we make literally has 5 ingredients, I think. I can't remember at the top of my head, but like 5 or 6 ingredients.
Yeah.
And they're all organic. So we're not great with our marketing, but just go on Amazon, what we were discussing earlier, Elliot. Like whoever it is, just go on Amazon, look for a spread and see how many ingredients they have in that spread. And also see if the taste is anywhere near the Yamtella. There are spreads with just 2 ingredients or 3 ingredients, but we've had people who are sugar addicts. We've had people who are not eating much sugar. We've had celebrity chefs trying our Yamtella and saying this can't effing being a swear word, effing be gluten-free, sugar-free, vegan, and high protein. So, and to be honest, I mean, people think it's expensive, but if actually you see the process of sterilizing the jars, the fact each one of these jars was made with a hand, a human hand, not a factory, not manufactured, and the fact that everything in the process was like human intense, gotta pay people, gotta use great ingredients, can't change any of this, and so no, we're not going to be decreasing the price, but maybe one day if we manufacture it in a larger scale, yeah, that would be a possibility. But I'm not sure it's going to taste as good then. So
on
it's a
that
bad.
review, on that review I did of Yummzy, that basically what you've just said in real in depth is the pinned comment. So anyone that comes can see that, because
Oh wow!
unfortunately I had to mention price because it's a big thing, but I get
And
it.
I'm aware you had a previous version which probably didn't taste as good as the new version.
I mean, the last version was incredible, but this new one.
Well, that's amazing. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I'm
We're
going on
glad.
a Yumtella diet.
That's why when they said, "What's your favorite meal?" I said, "Yumtella." I'm not lying. Last comment. We finished the questions, guys. So if you have any questions we didn't cover, now's your chance to bring them in. But last comment is someone who your dad commented saying Pop-Tarts actually have less carbs than bran flakes. Is that true?
Oh, he's probably just looked it up.
No way.
Mm.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I never tried either, so I wouldn't know. I didn't even have to look at their carbs.
There's some parts of me that are so jealous of these foods you've never tried.
I grew
Because
up in a country without, like, I grew up in a country which is a developing country, and by the time I came to study in the UK and all of this, I didn't anymore have the option of I was already proper low carbing, and then
yeah,
when I was rebellious, I didn't even know what Pop Tarts are. I didn't. Sorry, that's our dog, by the way. I didn't even know what Pop Tarts are. I didn't even know what bran flakes are. I was like, this is what I like. This is what I'm gonna eat. I'll stick with that.
and that is it shows you how addictive sugar is, because you said I've never had a Pop-Tart, and I gasped, and I haven't had a Pop-Tart in years, and that shows you how it's like shocking how much sugar takes over your life.
Is it worth it, the Pop Tart? I mean, I'm happy to have a bite of it at some day when my sugar is low, but is it worth it? You don't answer that question. You
Probably
feel
not.
guilty
No.
as an addict. Brilliant. Thank you all for the lovely comments. Everybody's saying, good job, guys. Great live stream. We hope it was useful for all of you. I learned a lot from Elliot. A lot of it was new information for me. Love the comparison. And someone who's fairly new to keto is also thanking us for the information. Elliot, I can't thank you enough. And to all the
Thank
audience,
you.
thank you. And to all the audience, thanks for the amazing questions. Thanks for asking us. Thanks for telling us your experiences. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Ours is Yummzy Desserts and Elliot's is Keto Kitchen UK, right?
The YouTube is just Keto Kitchen, the Keto Kitchen.
Kitchen. He's that big. He doesn't need to specify the country. So please subscribe to his channel. Please subscribe to our channel. Tell your friends about this. If any of your friends want to do keto and they don't want the medical approach to it or anything to intimidate them, tell them just two people, someone who loves desserts and makes desserts and someone who has a great YouTube channel are doing it. And that way everybody will get to enjoy it from a normal human's perspective.
Yeah.
Than someone who's a keto coach and this and that and that. Awesome. Thank you so much, Elliot.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see you in another live.
Absolutely.